CATV is proudly presented by Toyota.
Thanks once again for all your questions via Twitter on Ask Boof through CATV. I'm looking forward to answering as many as I can. There's a lot of good ones today, so here we go. Daniel Gibson, what has led to the improved turnaround of the T20 results lately? Has it been selecting specialists or has it been the format with the Big Bash? Well, a bit of both. Obviously, we've looked at a formula we need to play well in T20 cricket, but also the Big Bash has been a great success for Cricket Australia and all the players and all the fans. They turned out in droves to watch it this year, so it was fantastic. So from our point of view, a bit of both. But good question, Dan. Dan S., can you share us the best joke by one of the teammates and who is the best trivia buff? Well, let's go with the joke first. I'd have to say George Bailey, although he uses props all the time, but he is a ripper joke teller, so we're happy with him. Best trivia buff, that's a good one. It's certainly not me. I'll give you that one, Dan. Probably someone like Sam Ferris, who's with our CA Digital TV team. He knows everything, or thinks he does anyway. But his team always finishes last. Melissa Walker, if Mitchell Johnson is ruled out of the World T20, who will you replace him with? And will you replace him? Yes, we will. We've got to wait a few days to see how he's going, and hopefully, fingers crossed, he gets the green light to get over to Bangladesh. But if he doesn't, his health's more important than obviously a game of cricket. So for us, we'll replace him. Whether it's like for like another fast bowler or an all-rounder, selectors will make that decision. Oscar Dale, which of the test wins were more important, the one in the Ashes in Australia or the South African Test Series just completed? Well, for me, they're both very important. They're both very important because we need to start winning Test cricket again. That's the big thing for us as a cricket team, and Cricket Australia and fans need us winning games. So both very important. The Ashes is very special because it was a whitewash, but the one here against the number one Test playing team in the world in their own backyard is very special for us. We rate that very highly. So both very important. And the other question with that is day-night test matches, are they a chance? Well, if they get the ball right and the facilities right, as our CEO James Sutherland says, they want it to happen, and the World Game wants to have day-night test matches, just got to make sure the ball's right. That's the biggest thing from a playing point of view. Thomas Foster, have you always been a big fella? Well, thanks very much, Thomas. You must be size 12, are you? Or age 12. You're a nice fella. I'm actually looking at probably being a big fella for the rest of my life. But anyway, that's the way it goes. Thanks for that, Thomas. Mark Lucas, was Warney given a punishment for falling asleep in the change rooms in the third test? Yes, very funny. The King, as we called him for the week, was great with our youngsters. We loved having him around. And he had a little nana nap, but that's what you do when you get old. And he hasn't watched that much cricket over a period of time for a long time. So he was great with our young blokes, helped our spinners out for the T20 especially, but also helped the test guys out. Having those past greats come back into our change rooms is a really important part of what we're about. And we loved having him around, and hopefully next time he won't fall asleep. Ben Turner, will I be getting ahead of myself if I put back on my Australian never beaten pants again? There must be pyjamas, are they? Well, if you've got a triple XL for me, send them my way as well if you can. I'd love that to be the case, but we know cricket's a hard game. Max Hardy, what's the most important thing you've learnt about yourself throughout your coaching career? Well, to be true to yourself, to be true to your philosophies of the game, to make sure you're enjoying the way we play and making sure you come through the gates and want to watch Australia play and play well. We know we're not going to win every game, but what we want to do is entertain you guys that are following us, on the internet, websites, coming to the games, through the gates and on TV. And that's what we have an obligation to you guys to do, and hopefully you're enjoying it so far. Peter Ottaway, Stephen O'Keefe is the leading wicket taker in Sheffield Shield cricket this year. Is he a chance for national honours? Yes, he is. Like every player that's performing, they're a chance, and his name's been mentioned at the NSP level. So from our point of view, we'll look at him, and he's obviously in the Shield final, he gets a chance in a 5-day game to impress. Mike Dennett, is enough being done to discover talent at regional levels, and is funding an obstacle? Well, CA do a great program throughout the juniors, and yes, we want to have as much funding go back to junior cricket and both men and women, boys and girls, and making sure that we're creating the best environment for our young men, women, boys and girls around the country to get into our game and play it the best possible way. So from our point of view, we're doing as much as we can. Yes, you can always do more. If the money was endless, then we could do a lot more, but we're doing as best as we can, and I'm really proud of what the CA team bring there. Simon Ganikov, if you were playing now, what would have you done differently compared to when you were playing? Well, I would have been fitter for a start. That's an honest appraisal. But I grew up in a time where you learnt the game from your seniors. So I had some great mentors that I played with, David Hooks, for example, Alan Border, those sort of guys, Dean Jones, all the guys that I played with and against taught me how to play the game and learn the game. And if I had to do one thing different, I'd probably be a little bit fitter, if I was perfectly honest. But having said that, no regrets on my end, because I absolutely love representing my country and my state and my club from under 13s right through. So not too much. Aussie Cricket Podcast, which was your favourite test innings? Well, you probably have to, you always remember your first one, which was Trinidad and against the West Indies, but probably the big one for me was after the late great David Hooks passed away. I came back and played a test match against Sri Lanka, and that was at Gaul, and that was a second innings 100 there, which I was really pleased and quite emotional about. So that was probably right up there, considering what I've been through the previous sort of 3 months. Anyway, great questions today. Thank you. Keep them coming through on Twitter, and I'll catch you next time, probably in Bangladesh.